Bless up, it's Shaman, and today I have a topic called what's the difference between treating, which is commonly you go to the doctor and they're going to treat you. They treat you and they bill all of your treatments under an international code of disease. So when you come in and you confess your symptoms to the doctor in the white coat, who has letters behind their name, MD, naturopath. Bless up, Kim. I'm in Roseville, Minnesota. When you go to the doctor and you have an ICD-9 code or 10 code, there'll be 12 codes eventually, 12 books of different types of diseases. You're going somewhere to a system that is looking for what is wrong. They're not looking, blessed rise, blessed rise. I slept for an hour and a half and I drove Zawa down to the airport from 12:30 to 2 o'clock this morning. So if I look a little tired, that's why. I just drove 3 hours. But I'm lively, I'm in a good mood, and I'm vibrant. All right, so this strong, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I rent a professional space and I met with about 7 people. I also meet with clients through FaceTime, through a video, just like this, like we're doing right now. And I was just explaining the difference between treating and healing, because on a day-to-day basis, those Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, when I meet with clients to come in and get massage or energy work or talk about their wellness consultation, through a wellness consultation, speak about what's going on with them, they often, for almost 16 years, they relate, and before that in California, they relate what's going on with them. And just like if I go to the mechanic and I say, my car's making this kind of a noise, it's going, ba-dunk, 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 or it doesn't start until the third try, or I kind of give them the symptoms that my vehicle is manifesting. The same thing is true when my clients come in and they say, well, I have this and I have that and I have that. They didn't put in the study that I did for a lifetime and 34 years as an adult with intense study and credentials that really don't matter to me, except that I put them into direct experience and practice. They care that they feel better. Just like I care that the mechanic actually gets my car running the way that I want it to work to get me from A to B. You want your vehicle, your body, to be able to do what you want it to do. You want to have energy. You want to be able to sleep well at night. You want your skin to look nice. You want to have a lot of hair, right? You don't want it to gray prematurely. And a lot of things are out in the mainstream, the soup, where all the people gather their ideas, social media, television, churches, schools, clubs, in our homes. Oh, gray is sexy, gray is cool, gray is degeneration. And when you start to get gray, you're undergoing stress and oxidation of the body. When the body becomes oxidized, just like metallic parts start to rust, right? It's the same thing as us starting to turn gray. So there's no mystery to it. Turning gray is degeneration, okay? Cellulite, varicose veins, turning gray, obesity, big bellies, which are hormone storage, are all forms of degeneration. Not that we're to blame for all of them. I certainly wasn't to blame at 12 years old, and neither was anybody else. If as a child, someone gave you glasses to wear full time or filled your mouth with fillings. Well, let's just talk a few minutes about what I hear during the week, the strong. For the last almost 16 years, full time, how I earn my living as a high level, extremely advanced, no bragging, just facts, person who's able to handle some of the most sophisticated, most involved cases, long-time Parkinson's, myasthenia gravis, 27 years of lupus. I've got video testimonials, I've got written testimonials, I've got hundreds of legitimate, real, medically intuitive insights. I've got scores, not hundreds, of genuine medium insights that I gave to people for free when they came to a session anyway. They were paying for one service. They got that free because it was gifted to me. I gave them names. So when they come in and they talk, like I'll take for a couple of examples, this strong, okay? One man told me the same thing he's told me in his hour-and-a-half session on my table. And I hadn't seen him for about 4 or 5 years since he'd retired. He goes to Texas part of the year. He came back and he said, I've got to see you. You kept me working. He was working at a steel company. And he said, you kept me working for the last 3 years before I retired because my legs and my feet would not have done it. He had neuropathy, is what the medical industry would call it. And that was a result, think math again, so that think code. That was a result of having hypoglycemia, glycemic spikes that led to hypoglycemia, poor diet, excess sugar, eating wheat, eating lots of factory farmed animals that are full of antibiotics that destroy the gut. And now it went into diabetes. Then it goes into swollen and inflamed joints. Bless up, bless up. Bless up, Latham. Okay. And also, who else? Steve. Bless up, Steve. Good to see you. So when he came in, I said, I haven't seen your wife, Jean, in quite a while. And he said, she's got that vertigo really bad. Now, if you don't know what vertigo is, don't feel bad because the medical industry has got thousands and thousands of names for your lack of ease with your life in your own body. Excuse me. And vertigo just means that you feel really dizzy. You feel really off balance. If you are full of yeast and candida, yeast is candida. It's a living microorganism. It's a form of a parasite. And it can actually form nests up in your brain. You can see that if you look at the book titled Parasite Rex. I studied with a company that I brought on their cleanses over 20 years ago and took their cleanses when they first opened out of Florida called Renew Life. They only had one cleanse at that time called Cleanse Smart that was a basic cleanse that just helped to clean your blood and your channels of elimination. And now they've got Parasmart, liver detox. They've got probiotics with, a high level strain and, lots of 10 different strains or more of bifidobacteriums. So one client, my wife still has vertigo. It's just getting worse and worse. She can't go out and walk the dog. She can't do these things. And we're gearing up to get her knees done. Get her knees done. Think about that for a minute. I said, what does that mean, get her knees done? Having an idea, but not knowing for sure. Well, she's going to get her knees replaced. I mean, it's that time, she's 65 years old and she's going to get her knees replaced. I'm almost 60. I'll be 57 this year. So I'm on the 55 to 60 side instead of the early 50s, right? I'm on my way to 60. I don't need knees. I don't need hips. And I never had an extremely easy life. I worked for almost 40 years, sometimes 2 and 3 jobs. I solo parented a child. I had a business, ran a house. I juggled a lot. And knowing about the diet 34 years ago is why I don't exclusively just heal people with just a raw food or just fasting or just minerals or just hair testing or just, as I'm working with a client with Parkinson's right now, I'm not just treating like a doctor would. I'm meeting with this client every single day through FaceTime video. And even the family members say, what on earth do you have to discuss with her every single day? Well, let's talk about this because it's really important. If someone is in their 70s and they've never detoxed, and they've had a Parkinson's diagnosis for almost 5 years, but they're brilliant enough and they have the will to live, you absolutely cannot promise them an outcome, I guarantee. Not a doctor, not myself, not anyone else. But what I can promise is a higher quality of life and a potential. So on the one hand, you stay with treating with a doctor and you take, in this case, the 4 medications, Klonopin, 2 antidepressants, and Sinemint, which is a levodopa carbidopa based Parkinson's medication. And I research them. I read all the medical abstracts. I go through it all, not because I have to, but because I want to. Because I want to bring a level of service that people do not find with humble ways anyone else is doing what I'm doing. Nowhere could it be found. I've looked and I've looked. My 18 years of legal research, getting paid to research for the judges, and directly Alan D. Filippo at the DA's office taught me research skills in that 18 years that evolved after my 2 years of college to get my paralegal certificate, my passion for health, my herbalist credential, my massage credential, my African yoga credential, my growing up with my grandmother, developing my intuitive skills. I bring a very wide swath in my medicine bag, not just a juice feast. I've taught that class over 10 years ago here. I'm not bragging. I'm not better than anyone else. I know you got to hear that. You almost qualify me and you qualify everybody else. But with this gentleman, I'm actually looking at his artwork so that what he cannot articulate to me in a verbal, I can see through his artwork. And I've done profound demonstrations of showing my clients what I see in the artwork on a consciousness level, the subconscious, the unconscious levels. I take mind-body medicine to an exponentially high level because of my 34 years invested in it. I started off in 1984 reading Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, and I thought, whoa, there's causative correlations that relate to every single lack of ease, from arthritis to Achilles tendon to drug addiction, longing to love the self, to cancer, to thyroid disease, which is what? Humiliation. So one client whose wife had vertigo, often out of balance, has dizziness, and I hope that you guys can see me really well because it gets, I paid for high-speed internet here at the hotel, and it looks like it's a little delayed. Awesome. Another client comes in, and she's gone through miscarriage, a stillborn baby, a double mastectomy. She's gone through fibroids that led her to a hysterectomy, to what she thought was uterine cancer and a complete hysterectomy for that. She's gone through chemotherapy, and finally, after my seeing her for 14 years and having a surgery on her foot, and now the foot's got a great amount of scar tissue, and I said to her, I would not get the surgery on my foot if it were me. I would change my diet out of the dairy, the wheat, and the factory farm animals and the medications that you're taking, and I would do a complete makeover and cause the inflammation to leave my body. She got the surgery 4 years ago, and now when she comes for table work with me, because I don't see as many clients as I used to, I work more wellness clients through FaceTime, she's always got an imbalance in her body where the one foot, the right foot, has got so much scar tissue that now that it elevates the hip too high. And now that it does that, it causes pain in the hips and it causes an imbalance in her back. So now she actually needs to have massage. She's in pain, she's swollen, and even though the doctors told her to come back every 6 months and check her thyroid because I got her to do a thyroid ultrasound, her primary doctor denied the request. I said, look, all of these have a thyroid basis. Her mouth had been coated with silver nitrate. Years ago, she's older than myself, she's my elder, and they thought that painting the teeth with the silver nitrate would actually protect her teeth. We know that's not true. But that was a money-making business. Other clients came in, they're loaded up with parasites. They're so starch stiff that if you've got them on the table, you can't take the arm and bring it, all the way up and over. The arm only goes to here. And that means there's an impingement syndrome and the arm really can't have a full range of extension. So the body is becoming starched up. You go to work the toes and the feet, and the toes do not bend. And when they bend, they crack like crazy. And when they're cracking and your knees are cracking, your hips are cracking, you hear that cracking sound, that is starch stiffness. That will let you know that you're very starch stiff. So when I meet with a client, as in the Parkinson's, and I need to meet every day, I'm looking at the tongue, the skin, the liver and spleen lines, the ear lines, the lip lines. I'm looking at what the iodine is pushing out of the body with detoxification. I've seen crusties on the eyes. I've seen rashes break out. I've seen the varicella/herpes virus leave the body close to the cerebrospinal fluid, so at the base of the spine at the Muladhara chakra, which is the root chakra, which color is red. I've worked on the emotional intelligence for this client through the drawings and the artwork that I requested, which he'd never done before, ever. And I got statements from this client which showed me that he had emotionally repressed himself a little bit, like a lot of our males do in that age range. And I worked to help facilitate a release of emotional intelligence, because you cannot just heal someone from a long-standing disease that the medical industry would call Parkinson's, or the myasthenia gravis that I've cured, or the lupus, or the thyroid, or the ovarian carcinoma, or all the things that I've done, migraines, obesity, remove antidepressants for people so they can get off of these drugs. No one wants to touch that. They just want to let me put you on a fruitarian diet or an alkaline diet or juice feast. And those are great. Those are great. But if you have something where you need someone with a greater depth of 34 years of helping you detox as an expert, I'm your person. Okay? I take you through, like we're on the screen right now. I hear your goals. I gather information from you. And the consults are about walking you through to your goals. So you get there with maximum ease and you get there with no harm done. You need someone that has a great deal of experience. If you're working with something like Parkinson's, no one in their right mind would touch a 75-year-old man who'd never detoxed with an almost 5-year Parkinson's diagnosis. But I feel confident to do this without promising an outcome, but with absolute courage that I've done so much deep level detoxification work that I know what I'm looking at, that it doesn't scare the hell out of me and cause me to go, whoa, this is over my head, And I would have said that 20, 25 years ago. I might have even said that 10 years ago. On Memorial Day, like I said in my last live stream, I studied for 5 or 6 hours. It's my fun. I order books that are $40 a piece, $50 a piece, little courses from different doctors and people that I'm very selective about who I learn from now, because I'm not a beginner. I'm not an intermediate. I'm extremely advanced. And I earned it. Okay? So if you go to your doctor, yes, you might only see your doctor once every month, once every 3 months, once every 6 months, because they basically just do a talking appointment. How are you feeling? How are the drugs I gave that I prescribed to you working for you? Do you need me to cut something out of you with the surgery? Do we need to go in and set you up for chemotherapy? And God help you if you bring a child in who becomes diagnosed with cancer and you're now forbidden legally to not take a chemotherapy/mustard gas treatment for your child or your vulnerable adult who may be geriatric, or someone who's perhaps caught up in the autistic spectrum. The spectrum is so wide, it's a part of the net that's being built with all of the various traps to snare you. We got the traps with the music, the beats that you listen to, you know, that are causing you to be so asynchronized with what real life and nature is. Those beats would never be found in nature, but they're found in the trap. They're found in the net because they're set to snare you. They're found in the food system. They're found in the pharmacies. Okay? They're there to take advantage of you. They're there to experiment on you. They're there to use you from birth to death. So your best instance is to either work with someone like myself as a shaman to liberate yourself, just like you would take your vehicle somewhere, or you figure it out and you research it and you start at the baby beginning and you do your alkaline, your fasting, your juice feasting, and you start, detoxifying your own body. When you want to go all the way, I'm here to work with you. That's what I do. Okay. So again, humble, but people who, let me give one more example. My client that comes for 14 years, her husband just turned 70 years old this past week, strong. He went fishing. He got dizzy and he fell into the lake. Thank God the lake at that point was only where the dock was about 4 foot of water. And he felt terribly embarrassed. And what did he do? But he told his wife, I think I got to go to the doctor and go get checked. Now that dizziness, people have come to rely upon being checked, just like you check a cow on a factory farm today or a pig. Go get checked. The reason that you're dizzy is because you're eating white rice, brown potatoes, instant meals, coffee every single morning, dairy, cheese, ice cream at night, cake made out of wheat and dairy and mucus, butters, and all these things that everyone else is eating in the land of the belly of the beast. Okay? You got the 7 sections of the beast, and America is the belly of the beast. England is the head of the beast. If you were to speak with Rastafari elders way back, you would know that there were 7 sections of the beast. Okay? Let me see what time we're at right now. Okay. When you treat, you're going in and you're having someone else check you. And that might be appropriate, but we might be overusing it. And if we start to surrender our power, and people can tell us, as I've told you for decades, you've got cancer, you've got bone cancer, you've got breast cancer, you've got pancreatic cancer, you've got esophageal cancer, you've got stomach cancer, you've got thyroid, you've got throat cancer, you've got melanoma, you've got skin cancer. Did you think you couldn't do anything about it? Because I've gone through being called crazy. I've gone through being called manic by the doctors. I've been laughed at by my and my son's doctors when we needed to go for some reason. I had to go once a year. I only went once a year because to be licensed and have a massage wellness consultation business in the city I reside in and own a home in, it was mandatory to get a certificate that I was free of disease. So you had to have a doctor that was willing to give you a sign-off note to get and renew your yearly business license. Do you see how the system traps everything? When I was a little girl, and in the 1960s, and I was in elementary school at Henry S. Hammer Elementary in San Jose, California. I was born in San Francisco at the Kaiser. I was born breech, which is also part of my thyroid because of the radiation my mother got exposed to, and I did in utero, okay? And the mercury in San Jose, California due to the gold rush era. When I went to that school, it wasn't as common for us to have to go get a physical exam every year before school. But that's when they really started pushing it. You see, church and state are bedfellows. And if they can hook you, now that you're in the school system or the religion system, all the sports system, the veterinary system, the medical industry, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, all of them together are one big umbrella that houses this factory farm that I typically call a plantation, or we call the matrix. You're being experimented upon. You're being used for energy. You're funding a battery. And let me tell you something else. When these parasites are inside of you, part of what they're doing is eating your inner minerals. Just for example, this is a big drop. The iron feeds cancer. Just like I talked about, the car will oxidize outside. Like I tell my clients who are neurologically degenerating, whether it's MS, autoimmune, a brain dysfunction, a mood disorder, a mental health diagnosis, it's all electrical degeneration, or in the medical industry, neurological degeneration. It means that you've got to have iron to set your compass, which is right up here, okay? You've got to be able to magnetize your brain. And in order to do that, you need iron, zinc, and copper as primary and instrumental to do these things. What's up, Kim? So, gosh, I got an hour and a half of sleep. I'm going to be doing a client consult here in less than half an hour. And I thought, I think it'd be kind of fun to do a live stream, even though I got an hour and a half of sleep last night. So if I look a little tired, I am. I'm a little tired. But I'm going to bounce back because after this, I'm taking the dogs to the dog park over to Arlington and Battle Creek. I'm going to get outside. It's supposed to be 80 degrees today, although it looks like it's a little chilly. Tomorrow's going to rain. But now that I'm down here in the Twin Cities, I'm going to get out to the dog parks and I'm going to have fun. I'm going to get out by myself. Zoe doesn't want to go. He's tired. But I'm going to get out. I'm going to go get myself a good chai or go over to the Wedge, which I love, and get myself a nice fresh juice. Get out to the dog parks, get out in the fresh air, and make a bunch of loops and walk and be really thankful for life. I love you guys dearly. There's a big difference between treating and healing. When you stabilize, you gather the information, you stabilize a client who is unstable. They might be having hallucinations, they're not sleeping, they're getting up in the middle of the night, they're peeing all the time, they're constipated, or they've got diarrhea all the time, they're running urgent care because they've got stomach aches and nausea and they don't feel good, and they're loading up on 4 drugs that they call medications. I've worked with it over and over and over. Not a few times, not scores of times, hundreds of times. So I've seen upwards of hundreds that I've personally worked through detoxifications. And that just means I've walked this road. I've walked this road of deep, deep understanding and understanding of what it looks like, what it feels like, because I've done it for myself, what this diet does for me for 34 years, even though I've dipped off and I've not been perfect. I've been very stressed out. I went out and had a donut, or I went out and had coffees. I know what it felt like, so I got back on track. So I always tell people, none of us are perfect. Don't even try to be perfect. Try to do good 90% of the time. Try to say, I love myself. I'm not going to self-sabotage. I'm going to treat myself well with daily habits of love and respect, of courtesy, kindness, and compassion. We all let off the F-bomb and we all swear and we all get angry, but try our very best to use manners and respect. They go a long way. When someone opens the door, I go, thank you. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate that you cared about me and you did that. Okay? Get sunshine on your body every single day. Walk every single day. Drink water every single day. Try your best when you can, like I couldn't last night, to sleep between 10 and 6. That's your absolute ultimate time to keep your melatonin, your DHEA, your nocturnal hormones functioning well. That's why we have these sleep cycles. That's why the animals, Pablo's sitting next to me here, they bed down by the time it gets dark and they're up with the light. Oh, rain here. It's supposed to rain here tomorrow, but it really looks like rain here, like it may rain here today. So I'm hoping it stays really nice because I want to get out of the dog parks. So, plus up. I love you guys. I'm going to go prepare myself for my video client, a FaceTime client. I'm sending you all love. And even when it looks scary, we're just not used to seeing healing. So if we break out with big crusties on the eyes and a crusty on our tailbone and bed sores, we break out with rashes all over, it could be the iodine pushing all this stuff out of the body and detoxifying us. Let it happen, man. In this case, I asked my client to take 2 Epsom salt baths a day to dry it up. And then they had a salve that was made out of menthol and zinc. Zinc heals the skin. Slap that on there and keep it moist the rest of the day. Dry it out, keep it moist, help it to heal. Get that sunlight. Understand you can do this. Overstand you can do this. Detoxification sometimes is ugly, sometimes it's painful, sometimes it stinks when it's coming out, sometimes the urine is bubbly. You can do it. You can blow the nose, you can deal with the stinkies, you can deal with the rashes and the crusties, you could deal with feeling tired because then you'll get over and you'll be on the Rainbow Bridge feeling excellent. All right? So I'm going to say so long for now. I'm pretty tired, but I'm doing it. Oops, I would just drop the remote. I love you guys. Mwah. Have a really awesome day. I love you. Nakupenda.